Cole Allen appearing in court. The hearing has just wrapped, we are told, and at one point the judge apologized to Cole Allen. Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel is right outside the courthouse to answer why that possibly was. Mike?
Yes, Sandra, good afternoon to you. Judge Zia Faraqui apologized to suspect Cole Allen for the treatment he's received so far while he's been behind bars. He's been put on suicide watch by the Department of Corrections, and the judge was asking why. An attorney for the government said that he was put on suicide watch because he told FBI agents the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner attack that he didn't expect to survive. And his language suggested that he really was not expecting to survive his trip to Washington, D.C. and the ultimate incident where he allegedly showed up with a weapon to try and assassinate President Trump. He's been charged with that crime, but the judge very concerned about his constitutional rights, saying the defendant has requested a Bible, has requested meetings with his legal team, and that has not been allowed. He's been put in restrictive 24-hour lockup with no windows in a padded room without an opportunity to get out for recreation. And so the judge making it clear to the Department of Corrections that he wants answers by tomorrow morning about exactly what the housing determination will be made for the suspect in this case, out of grave concern about his constitutional rights, and that apology issued near the end of the hearing. And so quite a moment just moments ago in federal court. Bottom line, the Department of Corrections said they wanted to make sure that he survived, that this is a...
Who's a killer, who, if he had gotten another couple yards, would have sprayed the whole audience in the Correspondents' Dinner. I mean, would have just sprayed him and killed God knows how many, and then would have marched up and taken a shot over the whole audience at the president? And we're apologizing to this guy? I don't get that.
Seems more concerned about his constitutional rights in some cases than others.
Constitutional rights? Well, all right. Let's bring in constitutional law attorney, my pal Jonathan Turley. Jonathan, so would you speak to this, please? I mean, I guess the prisoners have constitutional rights. The guy's a killer, and God knows what would have happened if we hadn't taken him down. So I don't really think I'm that worried about his housing situation, but you tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, you know, the Department of Justice is in between a rock and a hard place on an issue like this. You know, if you do have a suicide, you have a sort of a lingering Epstein conspiracy theories that go on and on and on. You know, did he really commit suicide? You have someone here who said, I actually expected to die. And so the response from the DOJ is to make sure he didn't die in their custody. Now, that status appears to be lifting. It's not entirely clear. But the most important aspect of this is the denial of access to counsel. He does have a constitutional right for that. He also has a right to have access to a Bible. But the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Prisons are both given a great deal of deference in the housing of inmates, particularly ones where they have concern for their safety, including potential suicide. He is housed.
Well, clearly, there were signs that his intent was to harm a lot of people in that room, in that ballroom there in Washington. There's obviously also a question in that courtroom whether or not the President of the United States was his intended target. Janine Pirro seems to say that there is clear evidence pointing to that. Listen.
We have a lot of evidence that indicates his intent and the fact that everything that he did thereafter, whether it was, you know, following what the president was doing, where he was going to the day of the event at the hotel, tracking on his phone. Is the president in the ballroom yet? Has the president sat down yet? What time will dinner be served? This is clearly the president is a target.
Is it that clear to you, Jonathan?
It is clear to me. You know, this is going to be a one-man show. Cole is going to be both the defendant and the witnesses against him. I mean, it is his own words that state that he wanted to take out people from top to bottom. It's his own words to reportedly to the Secret Service agents. So he didn't leave much of a defense here. In fact, I got to tell you, I've been a criminal defense attorney all my career, and I can't really think of a viable defense at this point based on this evidence. You know, they supposedly took a pellet out of the vest of that Secret Service agent. Well, then the night is over on that charge. I mean, if that pellet came from the shotgun and he fired it, that is an attempt on the life of a federal officer. His manifesto gives you, in his own words, his intent to kill people in that room, including the President of the United States. It leaves you as a criminal defense attorney with
an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I mean, he deserves what he gets. Eye for an eye. I don't know exactly. My Bible's a little shaky, but I know it's in the Old Testament someplace.
Well, I was told by a Texas state judge once. She turned to me and said, I know where Jesus lives. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, he's in our state prison because everyone finds him there. And, you know, so it's not particularly surprising, but it's a little bit belated for him to turn to the Bible.
Yeah, well, everybody discovers God in the trenches. I understand that. I mean, I'm okay with the counsel. He should get a counsel, get a lawyer. I'm okay with that. You're right. Constitutional law. I get it. I just don't like judges apologizing to criminals who would be involved in mass shootings. I just don't like that. I don't know these judges, left-wing judges in Washington, D.C. I don't want to go there. I don't have evidence. I'm just saying, kind of strikes me. I don't want to coddle this guy. If he wants a nice house someplace, then he should have figured out what he was doing wrong, right? He made the choice. Now he's in a heap of trouble.
Well, you're gonna see a lot of these motions coming out. When you don't have evidence, you try to create appealable issues. You try to get the court to make mistakes. This guy doesn't have any cards in his hand. And so that defense counsel, which has a job to do, the defense is going to try to create some appellate issues here. And they're going to hit every possible shot they can. But the end result in this case doesn't seem much in doubt because the evidence here is so overwhelming.
You know, besides an eye for an eye, what if thou shalt not kill? Wasn't that someplace in the Bible?
Yes.
It was a commandment?
I vaguely recall that.
Economic issues. Top national and international news. Conflict with Iran. Tensions remain high as Project Freedom, also referred to in some segments as Operation Epic Fury, continues. President Trump warned in a Fox News interview that Iran could be blown off the face of the earth if it interferes with U.S. naval efforts to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Cruise ship outbreak. Authorities are investigating a suspected hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship that has left 3 people dead and several others sickened. Washington Monument shooting. A child is recovering after being struck by stray gunfire during a Secret Service-involved shooting near 15th Street and Independence Avenue. Supreme Court update. The High Court has restored access to the abortion pill, reversing a previous lower court restriction. Rudy Giuliani hospitalized.